Now, as we've been discussing there, for people whose loved ones are still being held hostage, it has been months of anguish as they wait for any glimmer of hope. We are joined now by Moshe Lavi. His brother-in-law was taken as a hostage by Hamas. He joins me now. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thank you so much.
You know, we've been discussing ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. They're reportedly in their final stages. How closely are you watching those developments? And what goes through your mind as you hear reporting that we are close to a deal?
Yeah, all families of hostages, including my family, whose loved one, Omri Miran, was taken hostage from Kibbutz Nachal Oz on October 7th, are watching closely. But as I say often in this past couple of days, we've been within hours from an agreement since May. And until we see an agreement being signed by both parties and by the stakeholders, the mediator countries, we cannot trust that an agreement will be reached. And as it stands now, we also understand that this is only going to be only the first phase of an agreement that will not necessarily ensure the release of all the hostages. So we're watching closely. Yesterday, I was in Jerusalem. My sister met the prime minister with other representatives of families of hostages. We received a briefing they received a briefing from the prime minister. Then we continue to Tel Aviv to the vigil, and then there is suspense in the air, and we hope for good news.
You know, you mentioned that your sister met with the Israeli prime minister. I'm wondering what that briefing was like.
Yes, from what she and other representatives shared with the media briefly after the meeting in a conference, they received the update about negotiations. It's clear that Israel has agreed to a framework. We don't know the details yet, and we shouldn't know them. We shouldn't even discuss them because they should be hidden and be behind the closed doors of the negotiations. But Israel agreed to whatever framework is on the table, and we are still waiting for Hamas' response. We understood that there are hurdles when it comes to their response, and it seems like there's still hurdles. We were hoping to receive some news today already, but as of now, even though there were reports from the Arab media, several outlets, about Hamas giving a positive response, we haven't received anything official as of yet.
And certainly that's something that we're hearing from our reporter on the ground, is that they're still closely watching, as certainly there are precise details in regards to these ceasefire talks that need to all be agreed upon before an official announcement. I want to ask you as well, in terms of the status of your brother-in-law, when is the last time that you had an opportunity to connect with him? Do you know anything about his health at this stage?
We had no opportunity to connect with him since October 7th, when he was kidnapped in front of my sister and my two baby nieces, Roni and Alma. He was taken violently from his home in Kibbutz Nachal Oz, and that was the last time they saw him. My sister told him she loves him. She'll take care of the girls, and promised to do everything she can to bring him home and ask him not to be a hero. But he's been a hero since then, because for 467 days he's been held captive by a monstrous terrorist organization, deprived of food and water and sunlight, subject to torture, violence. Some hostages were subject to sexual violence as well. The last time we received any proof of life was in late April, when Hamas released a psychological warfare video featuring him alongside another hostage, Keith Siegel. But since then, we haven't heard anything. Of course, we are concerned and worried every day, because every hostage at this point is a humanitarian case. Every hostage needs to be rescued, mentally and physically. But we hold on the belief that until we hear otherwise, Omri is alive, Omri is strong, and Omri is waiting for us to bring him home, waiting for the international community to force Hamas to let him go, and waiting for us, the Israeli public, to do everything we can to tell our government to do what they need to do in order to ensure the release of the hostages.
Well, Moshe, of course, we continue to watch this closely, as I'm sure you and your family are doing as well. It has been an incredibly long time, and we have heard news like this before, so we're waiting for the official announcement here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.